Doctors, what was your biggest oh shit moment in the OR? I was the lead surgeon on what should have been a routine gallbladder removal when everything went sideways in the most insane way possible. My patient, Mrs. Chen, had specifically requested me because I'd successfully operated on her sister. She'd been prepped, anesthesia was perfect, and we were ready to make the first incision when the anesthesiologist noticed something odd on her chart. Did anyone verify her medical history? He asked, looking concerned. I assured him we had no allergies, no previous surgeries, standard pre-op blood work all clear. We proceeded with a laparoscopic entry, and that's when I saw it. Where her gallbladder should have been, there was nothing, just a small scar indicating it had already been removed. I immediately called for her medical records while keeping her under. The nurse came back pale-faced. Doctor, according to our system, Mrs. Chen had her gallbladder removed by you 6 months ago. I felt my blood run cold. I had no memory of this patient, and I definitely hadn't performed that surgery. Then the truth hit me like a freight train. I pulled up the previous surgery records and photos. The woman on my table wasn't Mrs. Chen. It was her identical twin sister, Mrs. Liu, who had been my patient 6 months ago. Somehow, they'd switched identities for the surgery. The real kicker? When we called the waiting room, the real Mrs. Chen answered the phone from her hospital bed in the cardiac unit, where she was recovering from heart surgery she'd had that morning under her sister's name and insurance. These twins had been swapping identities for medical procedures for years to share insurance benefits. We had to wake Mrs. Liu up and explain why we'd made an incision but done nothing. She tried to play innocent until I showed her the surgical photos from her previous operation. Then she broke down crying, admitted everything, and begged us not to report it. But here's where it gets worse. While we were dealing with this mess, the cardiac surgeon called. The Mrs. Liu he just operated on had complications because she'd hidden her diabetes diagnosis, which only Mrs. Chen had in our system. Hospital security, legal, administration, and eventually the police all got involved. Both sisters were arrested for insurance fraud, identity theft, and reckless endangerment. The real Mrs. Chen nearly died from post-op complications that could have been prevented if we'd known her actual medical history. The hospital faced massive liability issues, and I had to testify in court about how they'd fooled our entire medical system. The sisters got 5 years each, and their scheme unraveled to reveal they'd defrauded insurance companies out of nearly $2 million in procedures over a decade. They'd memorized each other's medical histories, practiced each other's signatures, and even had matching tattoos to throw off identification. The only reason we caught them was because Mrs. Liu forgot she'd already had her gallbladder out by me. Now I take photos of every patient before surgery and verify them against previous records. That oh shit moment when I realized I was about to remove an organ that wasn't there, that haunts me. But not as much as thinking about all the other procedures they got away with and how many times they put their lives at risk for free healthcare. The judge called it the most elaborate medical fraud he'd ever seen. I just call it the day I learned to triple check everything, including whether my patient is actually my patient.